Hi, this is Jackie Nicoll with Long & Foster Real Estate. Today I'm going to do a video on the Homestead Tax Credit. Essentially, well, I'm going to show you how to make sure you have applied for it. And essentially what this credit does is it limits the amount your real property taxes can increase in a given year. And it can save you money. Now, funny thing is, I just did this video live, but it was brought to my attention, or I saw after the fact, that everything was sideways. And so every time I do one of these videos, this is my second one, I seem to learn something new. Last time everything was backwards, and today everything was sideways. So let's give this another shot. Okay, so before I go into the step-by-step process of how to apply, I'm going to just give you a little bit of background about what this credit is so you can really understand. So just bear with me for a couple of slides here. The Homestead Tax Credit works to prevent huge jumps in your real property taxes when home values are rising. Okay, so your real property taxes are based on the assessed value or the value of your property. And what the credit does is it limits the percentage of your assessed value, the value which can arise in a given year to a fixed percentage for purposes of calculating your real property taxes. So in Maryland, every county is required to limit the taxable assessment to 10% or less each year. In Baltimore County and in Baltimore City, for example, that cap is 4%. So what does this mean for you? It means that in a market where property values are rising more than the limit, that on your you would get a credit on your real property tax bill. The credit is calculated on any assessment increase that exceeds the allowable credit. So that's all the technical stuff I'm going to talk about. Now we're going to get into the application of this video to see if you've applied. If you have a primary residence in Maryland, you are entitled to this credit. It has nothing to do with your income level or anything like that. It is a credit that is available to all Maryland homeowners who have a primary residence in Maryland. So what you do, in order to see if you have the credit, you go to your internet browser and you are going to type in SDAT, which stands for the Maryland Department of Assessments and Taxation, and you are going to click on Real Property. Okay, and under Real Property you are going to go to the Real Property search button. And by the way, the screen looks a little different when you're on your browser because I've cropped the image and kind of made it bigger, so hopefully you can see it. And I really hope you can see it in that it's not backwards and it's not sideways. So hopefully things are going okay so far. So if it's good, give me a like. Let me know I did it because it's been a challenge. So what you do now is you go in and you select the county in which you want to proceed and you select the search method in which you want to proceed. And so I always do, I put in Baltimore County because that's where I live, and I put in, I say I want to search by street address. I find that to be easy. And then you go ahead and you hit continue. Okay, on the next slide, you're going to put in your street number and the name of your street. You don't put any suffixes in like avenue or road or court or anything like that. So if your address is 123 Brown, for example, you're just going to do 123 Brown, not 123 Brown Road. Then your report comes up. Go to the very, very bottom, and you will see where it says Homestead Application Status. If it says approved, then that means you are getting the Homestead Tax Credit. So if it says no application, that means this video is really good for you today because I'm going to walk you through how to apply. And the good news is it's free and it's easy and it's only a few steps. So hang with me here. I just want to point out that the homeowner's tax credit application status, don't worry about that. That is an income-based credit and has nothing to do with what we're talking about today. It can get a little confusing. All you want to be concerned with is the homestead application status, okay? So how to apply. What you do, wait, one more thing before I go on. If you have the credit, that's great, but I'd love you to stay along with me because you may know somebody who might benefit from this. You could share this with them. You can tag them in a comment below. And also, it's important to know that if you know somebody who purchased their house before 2007, they may not have it at this time, because it used to be that you had the credit, but then starting in 2007, you needed to reapply a one-time application to maintain that your eligibility for the credit. And the reason why is because Maryland realized that some homeowners who have multiple properties, your primary residence, vacation home, investment property, were receiving credits on multiple properties. Remember, this is only intended for your primary residence. So starting in 2007, you needed to reapply. So it's, people who've lived in their home since 1980, for example, it's good for them to look to make sure they reapply, because obviously things like this can kind of get lost in the mail, lost in the shuffle of life, so to speak. So what you're going to do now to actually apply, sorry for that little aside there, you are going to go on to SDAT again in your web browser, and this time you are going to click on tax credits. This is going to take you to a page that says tax credit programs, and you are going to click on the one that says, what is the Homestead Tax Credit? So here, this page, by the way, which again is cropped off, it has a lot of information about the credit. It's great. This is where I got most of my information from. So if you have any questions, and it's probably going to be explained there. You can also obviously feel free to reach out to me. But under frequently asked questions, the very first question there is, how do I file an application? So you click on that, and it is going to take you to a page that says, how can I file an application? And it explains very well what you need to do. You can file it electronically. You can print it and mail it in. You can print it and fax it in. And you are going to need a few pieces of information, primarily 2 pieces of information that you're probably not going to know at the top of your head. So it explains to you how to find that. It's nothing complicated. It's pretty simple, and it has all the very well explained directions in here. They also have the phone number to the State Department of Assessments and Taxation, which I've called before and asked. Hello, I'm back. So we're going to fix that. Fortunately, my manager, Jay Weitzel, who is my production crew, is here, and he is helping me with all these things that tend to go wrong, which I never knew so many things could go wrong, but they do. So you can go here, and it'll tell you what to do. And if you have any problems, you'll let me know. And while we are on the subject of taxes, I just want to bring up, if you purchased a home or sold a home in 2019, you will want to get a copy of your settlement statement from your real estate agent or the title company with whom you worked, because there are expenses on your settlement sheet, which is also known as the ALTA, formerly known as the HUD-1, that may be deductible for your income tax purposes. So make sure you get a hold of that. If you'd like to check out my videos on my past videos on YouTube and Facebook, simply search Jackie Nicoll Real Estate. So far there's only one, and I'm going to add this one. But the first one was on Maryland's smoke alarm law, and it explains what you need to do in order to be in compliance with Maryland's smoke alarm law. And the purpose of this law is to make sure that you and your family is safe. So it's a great video to check out. And it also, if you're selling your home, you need to be it's a legal requirement that you are in compliance. So you might want to check that out too. And the other place you can find it is on my website on JackieNicoll.com, and you can click on Jackie's videos. My website also has the ability for you to search the entire MLS if you'd like to do that. And you can also come down here to Neighborhood News, and that will, you fill out a little form there, and every month you'll get a newsletter that will give you a snapshot of what's going on in the zip code you've selected, which, by the way, you can always change that. So it'll show you the houses that are new to the market, the houses that have gone under contract or have recently sold, and give you some thoughts. So if you're thinking of maybe moving to buying a vacation home on the Eastern Shore, for example, go ahead and get a Neighborhood News for that area so you can kind of see what's happening there. So this is how you can contact me. Thanks for sticking by. I already gave a shout out to my manager, Jay Weitzel, who's been a huge help and support for this, but I also want to thank you to Beth Masters, Colette Wheeler, and Elizabeth Dodson, who kind of give me some tips, I guess, for setting up my first Facebook Live video, and they were really helpful hints and some feedback. If you have any feedback or additional questions, please put them in the comments below and let me know. And in fact, I just remembered I did see a question from a few minutes ago when I did my first Facebook Live video, which was sideways, asking me, I think the question was asking me whether or not your eligibility to apply for the Homestead Tax Credit ever expires. So if I bought my home in 2010, for example, no, not 2010, 2000, let's say 2000 or 1980 or whatever, that can I still apply for it? Yes, you can. It does not function retroactively, but you will be eligible for the credit in the future. So there's no time expiration. So definitely apply. All of us should have this credit. And I guess that's it. But I have to always leave with a little inspiration, and this is where my daughter would be rolling her eyes and accusing me of acting like a psychologist or pretending that I am a psychologist, which I do know I'm not, but I like inspiring things like this. And today is a perfect example. I did my first Facebook Live a couple minutes before I did this one, you know, the whole 10 minutes, and everything was sideways. And what did I learn from that? Well, I didn't win because it didn't come out very good, but I did learn, and nothing is a failure. So that's what you need to remember. So with that, I'm going to sign off. Enjoy your day, and make it a good one.